Today I thought it would be a good idea to make a little video on Tenkara fly tying. Since it is winter, a lot of people are going to be indoors tying a lot of flies. But not only that, but one of the members of our forum has decided to host a Tenkara fly swap. Essentially, it's where a group of people will tie flies, one pattern only. In this case, we have 12 people participating. They'll tie flies, send them an envelope with 12 flies, with a prepaid envelope, and then he just kind of sorts the flies out and distributes it to everybody that participated. So I'm tying one fly for this swap, and I thought it would be a good idea to make a little video and share with you which fly I'm gonna be tying. At the same time, a new little offering that we're going to be having here for a short period of time is some Tenkara ground green tea. One of the things that I find the most soothing of Japanese culture is drinking green tea. I absolutely love it. And recently I was contacted by a Tenkara, or by a ground green tea importer who is breaking the market here in the US offering this type of tea, which I absolutely love. And I thought it would be a very neat idea to make our own private label Tenkara tea. Got a nice little can, but it's also really healthy for you, and I'm not going to go much into that, but it's essentially really finely chopped green tea. It's not instant, it's not like a dehydrated type of green tea. It's actually natural leaf that is chopped really finely. You put a scoop of that with some water. You can mix it according to your taste. I like it a little bit darker, about 1 scoop for 8 ounces of water. And anytime I'm tying flies, actually anytime I'm doing anything, I'm drinking some green tea, and I absolutely love it. One of the things that I always like to do is just kind of getting home, or when I have time to relax, pour myself a cup of green tea and tie some flies. Now the fly that I'm going to be showing today, like all Tenkara flies in my mind, are very simple. This one has the basic material thread, just cotton thread from a dollar store is fine. I have pretty much 2 colors, like a light one and a dark one, black and gray. Hackle, which goes here, and I'm going to be pushing it forward, making it a Sakasa style. Sakasa meaning reverse hackle, which is one of the styles of Tenkara fly, the more characteristic style of Tenkara fly. For hackle, I like to have kind of like a brown or olive, and a light color like a ginger, or even a grizzly hackle is fine. You don't need much for tying flies and getting started. This is the only fly pattern that I use, just a simple black thread or simple thread body with hackle that I like to push forward. But today I'm tying one that I really like to use for streams that are faster, times when the stream is running much higher than usual, or places I know there's some big fish and I do want my fly to be as visible as possible, and there might be other bigger bugs in the water. So I'm not trying to imitate a bug by any chance, but if there are large mayflies or crickets or anything else, I might just put on a larger fly. So this one is actually tied on a size 8 hook, a little bit larger than usual. Usually I probably use size 12 flies, but today I'll be showing a size 8 hook. Very nice and visible. Slightly stiff hackle, not very stiff, just kind of regular hackle. Maybe twice as long as the gape of the hook. But again, I'm really not particular about the proportions or anything like that, but just to give you an idea. Simple thread body, and that'll be it. So I'll show you now how to tie this fly. So this is the fly that I'm going to be tying today, showing you really quickly how to tie. Very simple Tenkara fly. In this case I'm using a size 8 hook. I like this particularly when the water is a little bit higher, or the bugs are a little bit bigger in the water. So starting with a bare hook, actually let me get one that I got from the package. So it's a little bit difficult to find hooks that are barbless. Even nowadays it's still a little bit difficult, so a lot of times I just buy barbed hooks, but I do like to remove the hooks anytime I'm tying flies. And I have a little pliers that I use, but one of the things you can do is pinch with your vise. So I just open it up a little bit, open up my vise, put the hook in here with the barb facing me, and then just press it really quick, and that just removes the barb pretty nicely without having to have an extra tool. And then I just tighten it a little bit, and put the hook in there. Okay, now for tying the fly, all I need here is some thread and hackle, and that's about it. And for this one, I'm actually putting a little light bunch here, but really not necessary at all. I do that mostly for, because I kind of want to have a slightly different fly. One might argue that having that adds a little bit of contrast and therefore enhances the visibility of the fly, but I really do it for my own sake. Now thread, hackle, and that's about it, and then a couple of tools, right? So first thing that I do here, wrap some thread on the head of the hook and form a nice little head here, securing the tag end. And I'm not particular about proportions. That's not something that I pay a lot of attention to, but it's about maybe 1/4 of the way back. Now for the hackle, some people like to be picky about which part of the hackle they use. I'm not very picky about that either. I just kind of start where the stem is not too thick and the hackle starts kind of evening out a little bit. And you don't have to strip it, but I strip it a little bit with the curve facing up and the tip of the hackle facing forward. I wrap the base of the hackle to secure it, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I wrap until the point where I want the hackle to stop later on, because I'm going to be wrapping the hackle back. So like 4 or 5 wraps there, and then cut the stem. And many people do it differently, but I just think this is pretty simple. Okay, and once that's there, you'll notice here the curve is facing up, and ideally for the Sakasa style, where I want the hackle to be facing forward, I want to make sure that the curve of the hook is facing this way. Now, if you start tying, a lot of times the curve of the feather might face the other way. All you do is, as you wrap, kind of wrap against the shank of the hook and put a little pressure in there, and that will push the curve the other way. So if it's not working, try kind of you can try going back a little bit or try going forward, and then one way or the other you get the curve to face forward. And then 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 wraps, and then I brush this forward, and as I brush this forward I secure the hackle here with my left hand, and then I secure that to the end. And again, okay, 1, 2. Now with Tenkara flies, the most characteristic Tenkara flies are the Sakasa styles, the one that have the hackle facing forward, but that's not the only type of Tenkara fly available. The angler can choose to either leave the hackle straight up, that might give it a little bit more floatability, or to brush it forward, and that might give it a little bit of action, a little bit more of an anchor type of thing in the water. I do like to have my Sakasa style, especially for today's swap, where we agreed to have facing forward. Now I'll build a base. In this part here, it might be helpful to still hold the hackle forward, and when you do this, try not to pinch either just to the sides or on the top, because then you're going to end up with more hackles on the side. Try to kind of cup it around, all around the hook, and then build a base. The more of a base that you have, the more the hackle is going to be sticking forward. I don't want it to be that far forward, so I'm just going to stop around there, and then I'll build a body on the hook. And all my body consists of is thread. And one thing that you can keep in mind here as a tip, if you want to have a fly that is heavier, use more thread. Just do more wraps, do twice as much wraps as you need to. And that actually can very effectively help sink the fly as well. So in this case, I'm just going to have not a very large, not a very heavy fly necessarily. I just want to have enough of a body there to make it look like a bug underwater. Okay, and I'll go around a couple of times. And for this fly, it could be done here and this would be enough of a fly. But just for sake of show, to make the fly swap a little bit more interesting, I'm going to add a little bit of a batch. I just think it looks kind of cool. Really not necessary. All I did here is just get a little segment of lighter colored thread. Some people might like red. I just took white because it doesn't make a difference, but it might increase the contrast enough to make it a little bit more visible. And just a few wraps to make it look like a little egg sac, or just to make it look kind of cool. And then I secure this with a couple of wraps. 2 or 3 wraps is enough, doesn't matter. And then I go on to build my body and kind of match the same size as the butt at least, and I kind of like to have it a little bit tapered, so a little bit thicker right behind the hackle. And again, if you use thicker thread, you need fewer wraps of thread around the hook. I do not like using very thin thread, the one that you normally find nowadays for regular fly tying, because that's really thin and you need to do a lot of wrapping to get the body to look like, to look somehow visible. Okay, and that's it. Now there's going to be videos that will show you how to do the whipping finish a little bit better than I will, but essentially the idea is this line is going to be parallel to the hook. This line right here is going to secure it in place, and you're going to do a few wraps to secure it. So again, parallel to the hook, and I'm going to try to do it slowly so I can show you. And each wrap is going to be forward and very close to the next. You want them to be pretty close, and that's going to give you the most secure way. And as I'm doing this, I'm just going to switch in my finger here. Okay. I'm going to do 5 or 6 wraps just to have a very durable fly. And at this point, keep the line tight. Hold it with your fingers so that they don't just kind of like spiral out of control, and then just pull it. And here I got some hackles. I kind of lost my concentration there, but right before you tighten it completely, just pull the hackles out of free from the thread, and then pull it. And that's it. And if you really want it, you can do a couple more. Not necessary. Or put a little drop of glue or something, but I like not to use glue if I can. Okay, that's your Tenkara fly that I'm doing for the swap.